1992 sees the World Cup Canoe Slalom come to the Southern Hemisphere for the first time. After round one in New Zealand, the second round makes its way to the Whitewater of Australia's southernmost state, Tasmania. Launceston, a city of 72,000 people, plays host to competitors from around the world. And just 1 kilometre from the city centre is the spectacular and challenging Cataract Gorge. Hello and welcome to the World Cup Canoe Slalom being held at Launceston's Cataract Gorge in Tasmania. The World Cup is a series of 5 races held in Europe, North America and for the first time this year in Australasia. Our expert commentator is the National Slalom Coaching Coordinator, Jane Farrance. Jane, welcome. It's a spectacular setting and a spectacular course.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. This is just fabulous. It's the best course we've seen in Australia, and it is as equal or better, and dare I say better, than any of the courses in Europe. The paddlers are enjoying it, and it's really exciting paddling.
And it's a demanding course that demands the best of the very best.
It certainly is. We've seen the world champions, we've seen the World Cup champions, really hot prospects for medal winners in Barcelona later this year all come to grief. Not only have they missed gates and had slow runs, but they've actually swum and had broken boats and in one occasion actually hurt themselves. So this is a course where it's not the well-known people that may be winning. We just might find some surprises.
Practice, the one chance to find the best line through the gates before a timed race run. Some competitors found the Whitewater of the Gorge a force to be reckoned with. Everybody agreed it was a tough course.
Yes, it is certainly very hard, but it's supposed to be a spectacular event, and that's what it'll be.
Well, this course is a very difficult course. We'd never seen it before, so it was an interesting experience to actually see the water come down. Now, it's probably the hardest World Cup course that I've ever seen in terms of water difficulty.
It's when you go at the top, it's like being at the top of a 3-storey building and throwing yourself off. It just disappears in front of you. It's about 8 to 10 metres as it goes down in a space of about 150 metres. It's pretty terrifying.
There are 4 events in the World Cup Canoe Slalom: men's Canadian, Canadian doubles, ladies kayak and men's kayak. Each competitor has had their practice run and today have 2 opportunities to post the fastest time over the course. Paddlers must pass through each of the 25 gates on the course from the correct direction. Green gates downstream and the red gates upstream, the latter situated in eddies provided by rocks in the water. At the same time, they must avoid touching the gates. A touched gate incurs a 5-second penalty, while missing a gate completely results in a 50-second penalty. All boats are made from high-tech materials such as carbon fibre, Kevlar and epoxy resins and are highly manoeuvrable. The men's Canadian class is the first event up today. These canoes are propelled by a single-bladed paddle with the competitor in a kneeling position. Australian paddler Peter Eckhart set the early pace with a penalty-free time of 161.6 seconds. Many higher-ranked paddlers were having trouble, just avoiding penalties. His time looked hard to beat. And one of the veterans, Don Johnson, he's been to Tasmania before and a pretty well-known figure on the World Cup scene.
Certainly is. Donald Johnson is a very accomplished big water paddler. His best result was 4th in the World Championships 2 years ago. He came 5th in the pre-Worlds last year, so he's got a lot of credentials behind him. Paddling very nicely. Not as smooth, not as stylish. Looks as if he's working hard, whereas Richard just looked very smooth. But Donald Johnson certainly moves his boat.
I didn't see the top end of the course, but so far, since we've been picking him up coming down the course, he's been clean and been looking pretty fast too.
Okay. Yes.
Nailed
that was well
brilliantly.
done. Very smooth. That's the sort of thing, the sort of move that Donald Johnson is really renowned for. He can pull off those tricky moves in boils. He expects the unexpected there. He's paddling very well. Unless he made a mistake at the top, this again will be a good run, but I don't think it's quite as fast as Richard's.
Richard in 143.40. And we're coming up to 141. So that could be the new leader, depending on whether there's been any penalties down the course.
That's a very good run.
Four-time world champion and current World Cup title holder Richard Fox is one of the favourites in this event. What were his thoughts on his first run down the course?
Well, it's quite a slow start round down to gate 1 because you can't get up too much speed. You have to wiggle in behind that wall there, take the first gate. Then you can pick up a bit of speed coming down to gate 2, which is what we call an S-turn. They're in and out on one stroke, but a very tight turn afterwards coming back towards gate 2, gate 3 and gate 4 here. Really, this is just the warm-up for what's to come, so just trying to keep the boat running smoothly here, not lose any time. A little bit low there, actually. Lost half a second to a second and slow on the exit, but still nothing too much to worry about. Now this is where it starts warming up, down through 6, across to 7, hitting the wave there and holding the line of the boat, tucking in round gate 8, paddling out round the top of the rock. We tried cutting out early yesterday and got stuck on the rock, and now down the drop through 9 and keeping the boat running smoothly up through 10 there. Trick here is just to keep the boat running, not braking at all, just flowing as smoothly as possible. Jumping over through 11 to 12, a little bit of air time there. But that was better than I did yesterday on the practice run, so I'm quite happy. Now, round through 12 to 13 is tricky. There's a rock under the water there, and people have been tripping up on it. So I have to be a little cautious through. Down the big drops here, 13, 14, 15, and then trying to get as high as possible into 16. That's nice and tight. I'm quite happy with that. And then across to 17. Some people were missing that on their first runs this morning. It's quite pushy water and difficult to get the timing right. Now, a fast exit here on the wave, coming down to 19 and 20. This is a little tricky down here. Boily water, a bit tight round the pole there. And, oh, I lost a bit of time, but managed to get up. Keep coming across here now for 21. And this is where it starts to tell. Once you've been over and done an Eskimo roll, you've lost your energy, a bit of coordination, water in the ears. It's quite hard to keep the concentration going and hold it together, but I knew that I was clear at this point, and I just wanted to make sure I got a reasonable run on the scoreboard, and then I really got to make up a bit of time for the second run now, because that's not enough to take the lead.
Melvin Jones now, or down on the way down the course from Great Britain.
Melvin Jones is ranked 2 in Britain behind Richard Fox and is a very, very competent paddler. Any of these British people could win a race at any time. No one has a monopoly on it, and Melvin could certainly bring it out.
Really attacking the top part of the course, which gives you the opportunity to maybe gain a couple of valuable seconds.
And he could well need them. I'm quite sure today's races will be run by the cleanest paddler, and that less leaves time. They'll get it clean. It's just who's going to do it fastest.
Well, I think Richard Fox has really set up the time now, and it would not surprise me to see that first run time remain the one to beat for much of the competition.
There is room there. It is certainly very beatable. Richard made a mistake, and he was still the fastest with a mistake. So there leaves a little bit of room for somebody like Melvin to come in and take that first place away. It's certainly not decided yet. There's a long way to go.
So far, the run has been good for Melvin Jones. Great Britain. Could well be Great Britain 1-2.
Very nice. Very quick on gate 12. That was one of the neatest entries and exits we have seen on that particular gate.
It's important lining up that downhill run. A little bit of trouble, but he's
almost break out too early.
Yeah, already thinking almost too early about that gate.
Had to just pause and just wait there and control the boat, leave it in the current until he's a little further downstream. Certainly not wasting any time at all.
This could be a very competitive run from Melvin Jones.
I think he's chasing Richard's time there, very, very close. And what can we see here? Timing it well,
Oh,
yes.
beautiful.
I think that may just have cost Richard first place.
He's nailed it.
That was beautiful. Has he got the power to finish the course? This takes a lot of strength. You'll see a lot of the paddlers using backstrokes. He didn't. was a draw, so it means he's got plenty of power and he's still moving.
And the time is going to be more than competitive, I would
Yes.
suggest.
I
I think we're looking at our new leader.
He's paddling beautifully.
So
And
much for my theories.
How can't be underestimated. That was an excellent paddle. Yes.
There's our new leader. Melvin Jones from Great Britain goes into the lead, edges out his compatriot and 4 times world champion Richard Fox. Only 1 second separates the leaders, but with less than 4 seconds between first and sixth, it was still anyone's title. Pressure on a world champion who has not been able to complete the course in a number of runs. There's a time. Really working hard.
Very low there, lost time. That's a worry.
Just remember, the time to beat at the moment is a total of 1:79.85, so that's just under 3 minutes. And allow for the fact that she's got at least 5 seconds penalty to be added onto this total. And if you see the clock tick up to 3 minutes, you'll know that it's been too slow.
I think she's going to have to work very, very fast. She has not got long, and she's got several gates to get through, but she's very, very strong, and she's fast.
That's the second last gate. 1 gate to go.
And it's getting very tight for her, but I think she just might be able to pull it off.
She's got a 5-second penalty, remember. It's going to be a little bit too slow.
Not quite.
Not quite there. A much better run. She'll be happy to have shown her wares a little bit, the wares of a world champion, but if that's a 5-second penalty, she will be just pushed into second place. Stepanka Hilgatova from Czechoslovakia is still your leader.
34 is Elizabeth Mikler. She broke her boat up this morning, which had a very nasty swim after being swept out of the back of gate 12. And she was badly shaken up. She's borrowed Miriam Jerusalemi's boat from France and paddling in a borrowed boat, totally out of order, behind the men. She's going to try and pull out a good run. She's current world champion, an extremely talented paddler, mentally very tough from coming back from an experience like a swim this morning. And let's see if she can put a really good run in.
Elizabeth Mikler from Germany. As you say, it must be hard on the nerves. She's really got to put in a big effort here.
She does much of her training with Melvin Jones, who is currently winning the men's event provisionally, and it would be very nice if she could be winning the ladies, and I'm sure that's what she's aiming at. Very nice turn there, very strong. Does a lot of paddling in Augsburg, which is very turbulent, boily water, similar to some aspects here. Come out of that very cleanly. She's looking very good. This is a beautiful run. Pulling up there quickly.
She's tracing Stepanka Hilgatova from Czechoslovakia. And at the time there is just under 3 minutes.
And this gate could make or break her, and I'm afraid it just broke her. That was much too low. The other girls really nailed that in their second runs today. That was just too slow.
After this morning, I'm sure she's glad to still be upright.
She's got past that section she had so much trouble with. She's lost more time there, so the time won't be as good as Elizabeth would like, but it's still a good solid run, and it will put her right up there with the place getters. There is no doubt about that.
I tell you what, this is not going to be all that far off. She's got 2 gates to go. And remember, the time is just under 3 minutes. I think she's got it.
With a low breakout like that, that is amazing. She must be so fast over the rest of the course.
Now, we're going to have to wait to see whether she's incurred any penalties, but if she has not, she's gone from swimming to winning. A sensational paddle by Elizabeth Mikler to win the ladies' kayak. Stepanka Hilgatova's first run gave her second place. World champion Miriam Jurasamy overcame her earlier troubles with the course for 3rd place. Don Johnson from New Zealand in 4th place after the first run, a time of 2 minutes 21.76 seconds.
4th place in a World Cup has been his best position ever, and he would dearly love to beat that.
It's a good run. Build on it in this bottom section of the course.
He's done the top section extremely well. He'll be happy with this, just how he can finish it off. Coming down now to this very tricky boilie gate. Nearly too soon. Whoa.
Oh, brilliant.
Could not have got closer. Heading for disaster and turned it into brilliance. That was a magnificent effort. And it takes experience to pull something out like that.
Now, here comes the little tricky one. He's got the good line there.
Well over for that. The young guys may make that mistake, but not someone as experienced as Donald Johnson.
Well, he's not going to be able to push for the top. I think he's going to be a little bit slower than his first run.
He's going for it.
2:24.60. His first run was 2:21.76, so a little bit slower. Now, Richard Fox, the man in second place. And the man who talked us down the course said he picked up a few little minor technical problems. He's got a great liking of this course. Talking to him, he said it's almost as if nature had intended this for the slalom.
That was very poetic of Richard.
In second place, exactly 1 second off the pace set by his compatriot, Melvin Jones. And looking to really push every bit that he can.
Richard's a master technician. He's just so smooth and his placement is just so perfect. He really is the paddler that every other paddler gauges their skills on. How did Richard do it? How will I do it? He's become the benchmark of all canoeing. He's won more World Championships and World Cup than any other paddler in history. And he's just a sensational paddler. He's dominated the 80s and he's certainly looking good in the 90s. His main aim now is to not only be at the Olympics, to win gold. Lost a little bit of time then, but you'd hardly notice in the smooth running of his boat. Just
conventional entry and exit from gate 12.
No, it was a little slow for Richard. You would have expected him to be higher. He lost just a little bit of speed coming through 11. He's a little low there and lost probably a second, which may be the second between he and Melvin.
I know it can play tricks on you at some time, but this doesn't appear to be as good a run as his first run.
No, he has just missed gate 17. He has to come back for it. That is it. This run will not be as good as his first run.
Ian Wiley from Ireland, who was looking so good until he missed 2 gates.
Yes, he was very, very disappointed with that, and he is determined to put in a good run this time to make up for it.
Well, good entry and exit. What can he do?
He's had some really good results, so he knows how to pull it out. He can handle pressure and he can really pull himself back. He's first in the pre-World Championships in TAS in 1990 and first in the pre-Olympics in 1991 and the World Cup. So, I mean, he's had the results and this man can win it if he can pull out the run now. And he's certainly looking as if he's on target.
Looking very good at the moment. Stone motherless at the moment, as they say in the classics, in 17th position, but if he can keep this going, he's going to jump a heap of places. Touch the gate there, be annoyed with that.
That will blow him out of first place.
5-second penalty. And I think just going for just a little bit too much speed, trying to get in too quickly, just a slight touch. Competitor number 68, the current leader, Melvin Jones from Great Britain. His time is still the one, which is the others are trying to catch.
Now he's going to be thinking of it a little differently from the other competitors. He knows he's in front, and he knows that most of the competitors in front of him still haven't been able to break his time. So even though he's going to be trying to go faster, he's going to do it very steadily. He's not going to take any stupid chances and get a 50. Be a very solid run you should see from him. Just trying to go that touch faster, just a little bit more power in each stroke. Just trying to maintain the lines.
Good entry.
The wind there is moving those gates, making it fairly difficult for them.
Got the start of another very good run here is Melvin Jones.
I think he's got this course sewn up. He thinks he knows what it's about, but this wind is a worry. It's moving those gates considerably, and you can't cut your gates quite as fine if the wind may move them 6 inches forward or back.
Judges aren't going to view it any differently.
It's an outdoor sport, and if the wind blows the gate into you, it is still a penalty, which can be really frustrating at times.
Now, what's the entry going to be like into the next
He's wide.
Oh, he's in trouble, and that's going to be valuable seconds. You see the time that he takes now. That's probably 4, 5, 6 seconds. If you get back up to the gate, that's lost time. And that's,
Yes.
again, puts him down to, say, 6th place.
Yes, he couldn't afford that. It's his first run that will count, and this could be a first-run slalom after all, which is quite a surprise. I think the big danger now is going to be Lubis Hilgert, which is the next paddler on the course.
But again, looking very smooth and very good.
Oh, that's low. But his power, he went out very low then. He was lucky to get that gate. He's got enormous reach. I think it was that reach that enabled him to save that gate. It was a very close call. He just stretches out and pulls that boat up past him.
Lubis skill.
Oh, no. Into the rocks.
Dear, mate, a mammoth thing. Just going a little bit hard for it, I think.
Just seemed to be blinded. The waves had him, as he lost control, the waves were all over his face. So I really think he was blind, just did not know where he was going. He guessed, and it wasn't right.
Well,
he recovered very quickly and kept moving, but it certainly won't be as fast as his first run.
so victory to Melvin Jones in the men's kayak. First, second and third, all being decided by the first run. Recapping the winners today in the men's Canadian, a Czechoslovakian 1, 2, 3. Lucas Pollard first, Jacob Pruer second, and Juri Onko third. The ladies' kayak, Elizabeth Mikler from Germany first, from Stepanka Hilgertova of Czechoslovakia, and the world champion, Miriam Jurasamy, in third place. The men's kayak saw 1 and 2 to Great Britain. Melvin Jones first from Richard Fox, and in third place from Czechoslovakia, Lubos Hilgert. And the Canadian doubles, Czechoslovakia 1, 2 and 3. Simic and Rowan first from Sturkel and Sturkel, with Petracek and Petracek in third place. Now to some of the canoeing highlights. Elizabeth Mikler went from swimming in the first run to winning in the second.
Yeah, it was pretty bad the first run. No, it wasn't bad. I had a good run to gate 12, and then I tripped over the paddle, and I couldn't do anything. I tried to roll, and I had to go out the boat, and I swam down the course, and I hurt my leg and broke my boat, so that wasn't so good the first run. I wanted to improve and go down better. I know it was a mistake that I could take over, and so. But the worst thing was I had to borrow another boat, and I'm quite happy that Miriam Jurasamy, the French girl, lent me her boat.
In the men's kayak, Melvin Jones edged out defending World Cup title holder Richard Fox.
That's right. I had a good run on the first race. I didn't make many mistakes, or if I did, they were only small ones. Other people made mistakes on the first run, and I came out on the first run leading. Normally, it's the second runs that take the winning runs normally, because obviously it's an extra practice and you get to know the course that much better through your first run. So most times improvements do happen on the second runs. I made a mistake on my second run, and fortunately so did other people, and I stayed in a winning position.
No medals for Australia, but some good performances. Peter Eckhart finished 4th in the men's Canadian.
I was pretty happy, yeah, I was. I had 2 clean runs, and for that sort of course, that was a pretty unusual performance. I was a little bit slow, and that kept me out of the medals today, but overall, very, very happy.
So, World Cup Canoe Slalom coming to Australia for the first time here at Launceston's Cataract Gorge. It appears to have been an outstanding event, some spectacular paddling, some spectacular thrills, a great crowd in attendance.